Hello everyone, Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live with my regular Wednesday morning card class to go. Sorry I'm a little bit late this morning. My computer decided it needed to restart. But I am here now, and I am bringing you the Nothing's Better Than card class to go. So this is the sweetest stamp set. It's just so much fun with the cookies and coffee, cocktails and chocolate, like all my favorite things. And then a great die set that I really actually didn't use a lot in these cards. I wanted you to see that you really can just create with the stamp set. And then if you wanted to kind of take your cards to the next level, a lot of them could have the dies incorporated to kind of boost them up, but they're not necessary. So the way a card class to go works is, oh, good morning. I know I love this stamp set. So the way a card class to go works is I will show you guys 3 cards. And then if you would like to get the make and take kit to make 2 of each of these cards, as well as a printable PDF with all the instructions, then you simply place an order with me for a minimum of $50, and all that stuff will get sent to you next week. And with an order of $70 or more, you get some champagne rhinestones as well. Good morning, Eva. Some super exciting news for this week, though, is that Stampin' Up! Has announced a free shipping day, which is tomorrow, December 15th. There is free shipping on all orders over $100. So you use my host code, you get your free shipping, you get your $100 worth of product, and you get the card class to go with the champagne rhinestones. So it's a pretty awesome deal this week. Yeah, so that's about it about how card class to go runs. Let's get started stamping. So I've got here the blends that I'm using. I've got Flirty Flamingo, Pool Party, Pale Papaya, Old Olive, but just the light one, Bermuda Bay, and Crumb Cake. So it's a really nice kind of pastel palette that we've got for this week's cards, which I thought was great to go with the Texture Chic Designer Series paper that I've chosen to use with the cards this week. So our first card is right here. This beautiful, You're Just Like Chocolate. And then I actually think I did forget to stamp on the inside. You Make Everything Better is the sentiment we're going to put in there. So I'm going to actually add that to my sample card as well as I go ahead and create. So you guys will get your packet that actually has stuff for 2 cards. My packet just has enough for me to make the 1 sample today. So you'll have double the product in yours. So you have a very vanilla envelope and a very vanilla card base, and then all of your other little bits. So the first thing we're going to do is take these 2 strips of Texture Chic Designer Series paper, and we're going to glue them right to your card front, one on either side. So you can use whatever adhesive you prefer. Mine is always my liquid glue. So I like to just get a little bit of liquid glue on the end of the flat side, not the pointy side, and then just kind of drag that down along. All right, so let's see. Go this way to be able to line it up. So I do like the liquid glue because I can shift it around until it's sitting exactly how I like it. Okay, so we've got one side done, and now the other. Hope you guys are doing well. I finally got the majority of my Christmas cards actually in the mail. The last bundle goes today. A little bit later than I had wanted, but there were a lot of people on that list. All right. So we've got our 2 strips of Designer Series paper on our card base. So I'm going to set that off to the side now so we can do a bunch of stamping. Okay, so the first piece that we are going to stamp is this piece, the longer piece of Crumb Cake that we've got. And I'm going to use, oh, now I have them all on blocks. Let's see if I can find them. There we go. My chocolates. I'm going to use the chocolate outline with some crumb cake ink. And I'm literally just stamping chocolates wherever, just randomly popping them into spaces. Okay, so just like that. Whoops. And just right across the whole thing. And there we go. All right, so with that done, I'm not going to put this away quite yet. I am also going to stamp my envelope. Okay, I always like to have my envelopes match up. So I'm just going to create like, oops, wrong way. Create a little pocket to put my envelope into. Now I want these in this direction, so I'll turn that around. And we're going to come on in and stamp chocolates kind of all over the place here as well. Oh no. Just put my whole finger into my ink pad. Okay, so when that happens, you can just grab, oh, that's not a chamois. You can just grab a chamois and just wipe your finger off on the chamois. It might not take the actual color off. In this case, it did because it's nice light crumb cake, but you can just take your whole chamois and wipe your hand down with it. All right, there we go. And a little bit more. All right, and maybe one more over here. There we go. And I'm also going to put one on the front corner. There we go. So that's our decorated envelope. I love having those all looking cute. Stay out of there. All right, so that's it for our crumb cake ink. We can put that one away. Put away this scrap for now. Put that away. We can put that away. Now we're going to take the smaller piece of crumb cake and we're going to stamp our sentiment on here using early espresso. Now, this is one of the places where you could kind of take this card to the next level with the dies. So I am going to stamp the word chocolate because we have it in our stamp set. But you could use the dies and create the word chocolate and have them pop up on the front of this card. And that would create just kind of like that next level look to the card. We're going to stick with stamping today. We had a simple stamping challenge with our Coast to Coast creators. You may have seen my card this morning. And so I kind of was like in that mindset of, okay, let's just create with stamps and see what we can do. All right, so now I have to find the one that says you're just like, because it's somewhere. It's somewhere, but they're hard. Oh, there we go. They're hard to read sometimes when they're on the blocks. All right, so you're just like, and I'm going to stamp that near the top of that little crumb cake piece using early espresso ink. And then let's make sure that says, no, that doesn't say chocolate. That says cocktails. So let's move that. You're just like chocolate. There we go. So we've got that. Ink that up with our early espresso. Center that. So you're just like chocolate. And now here's the part that I forgot to stamp in my card. It's you make everything better. Now, where is it? You make everything better. There we go. So I'm going to grab both my card bases right now. My sample. There we go. And my one from today. And we're going to stamp You Make Everything Better right on the inside. Now, a little tip. If you're making cards to sell them, then I also go ahead and stamp this on a sticky note so that I can put it into the envelope and people will know that it says something and what it says on the inside of the card. So that's something that I do to help me out when I do craft sales and stuff, because people always want to know, oh, are they blank inside or do they have a word? So if you do craft sales, that is something you'll want to do. Okay, so now we've got those all stamped. That's all stamped. Now we have to create our little chocolates that go on the front of our card. So you have, no, not your long piece. You have a smaller piece of Very Vanilla. And on that one, we are going to stamp 3 sets of the chocolate outlines using Early Espresso ink. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. There we go. So 3 little sets. Now we get to do a little bit of coloring. So, sorry guys, cannot seem to shake this cough. So I've got, this is my dark crumb cake, and I'm using kind of the paintbrush tip, and I'm coming in and coloring these chocolates, but I am not coloring kind of the, like the accent pieces at the tops of the chocolates. We're leaving those blank for now. And on this one, I'm going to leave the stripe blank. Okay, I'm going to do that to all 3 sets of chocolates. And then we'll come back in and decorate them and make them each a little bit unique. Okay, there we go. And one more. Okay, so if you don't have blends, I'm going to show you something that you can do to color these in as well, and that is to use a blender pen. So I do not have an Early Espresso blend, Stampin' Blend, but I really wanted to have some dark chocolate onto my chocolates here. So you can get blender pens in a pack of 3. Pretty sure I used these on last week's cards as well. They're just such a handy tool when you don't have the felt pen or the blend or whatever it is that you need, or maybe you don't even have, like, I don't know, like, just when you don't have what you need, the blender pen saves the day. And so I just picked up some of the Early Espresso ink from my ink pad and onto my blender pen, and then I go ahead and I color with it. And you can see the color fades as I go, so I do have to kind of pick it up again, but it's also nice because it allows me to actually get that look where one side is darker than the other, and we have some tone in there. And then to clean them, you just rub them until they run clear. So the tip is stained, but it's not coming off of my paper anymore. All right, and that's how we use a blender pen. So it creates a great little tool for coloring with colors you may not already own. So that's a great one. And it works best on small spaces, so these chocolates are perfect for this. All right, so you can do the same thing with the next 2 colors that I'm going to use. If you don't have these colors, go ahead and grab your blender pen and your ink and color these in. But I do, so I've got my dark Flirty Flamingo, and so I'm going to come in here and color in my chocolates. So these are some little strawberry chocolates now. And I'm going to grab my dark Pale Papaya and color in these guys. I guess this would be like a mango, maybe? Mango chocolate? I don't know. They just look pretty. So now we have our 3 sets. So these chocolates do have a die that cuts them out, all 3 all together, all in one go. All right, and I did use it. However, whether you use the die or not, you're going to end up having to come in with paper snips to trim part of this off, because I'm actually not using all of the chocolate. So for today, I'm actually not even going to bother with the die. I'm just going to grab my paper snips and snip these out, because these are pretty quick and easy to trim out anyways. All right, so I'm not going to cut super duper close because we've got like that little swirl across the top, and I don't want to interfere with that. I'm going to come in here, but then I am swooping in and I'm taking off one of those chocolates on my dark chocolates. I'm only using 2 of them. You could totally just keep it and, you know, put down all 3, but I just found that it looked a little cluttered and too busy. And so then I did the same thing with our strawberry chocolates, but I took off the opposite chocolate. Okay. So you can see you totally don't need the dies to cut these out. It just, you know, it does make it a little bit more uniform if you're trying to create like all of them looking exactly the same. All right, and then our last bundle we'll do fully. So I could totally just die cut these, but you know, we're on a roll. I got the scissors in my hand, so. All right. Okay, here we go. So just twist this around a little bit. These are so cute. Okay, so we've got all of our chocolates. So with all those little chocolates cut out, we are going to start to attach them to the very vanilla. This is the stylish, one of the stylish shapes dies. So we're going to attach these to our circle, and I'm going to use dimensionals to do that. So let me just grab a sheet here. So for the one that still has 3 chocolates, I'm going to use 2 dimensionals on the back of it. And for the other little ones, I'm just going to use 1 on the opposite ends, like away from where they're going to overlap. Okay, so we can just kind of set them in place, get a general idea of where we want them, and then take those backings off and stick them in place. There we go. And so this works out fine, having them without the full vanilla border, because they're also going onto a vanilla background, so it's really not as noticeable. Okay, so just like that, we've got our chocolates attached to our circle. And now we can start putting our card together. So with this longer strip of Very Vanilla, I'm going to glue my 2 pieces of crumb cake onto this, and you're going to see that when I glue them down, it actually leaves like just a little border on the 2 sides and between the 2 pieces. So they're cut exactly right to do that. So it doesn't matter which end you start with, but we'll glue this so that it touches the top, and then the other one touches the bottom. So here we go. As long as you try to get equal spacing on either side, then the rest of it will fall into place. There we go. And then you're just like chocolate. And then this one, again, equal spacing, but touching the bottom. There we go. Okay. So we have that piece created. Before we do, oh, actually we can attach our chocolates on here as well. There we go. So just a little ring of liquid glue and pop that down. Oh, try and make sure it's centered. There we go. So I've got that attached. And then you have a piece of pale papaya. Now I cut this long enough that you could wrap it around and tie a bow, but I actually prefer to do this the cheater way. So I'm going to trim my ribbon so that it's just slightly wider than my piece of cardstock that I've got here. And then with that kind of where I want it, I'm just going to flip it over so I can see where to put my adhesive. And I'm going to put either 2 small pieces of tear and tape or 2 little swooshes of Seal Plus so that I can tuck my ribbon behind and have it stick in place. So I want this right down at the bottom of my crumb cake, but letting my Very Vanilla show. So there we go. They're just attached on the back, just like that. And then the ribbon's flat across on the front. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to put some dimensionals back here to cover up the excess seal that I had on this card back, because I don't want this sticking to my tabletop when I flip it over to create the bow. So I'm just going to put all my dimensionals on here right now, because this is going to go onto our card front with dimensionals. Okay, there we go. So now I can flip that over, and I take my extra piece of pale papaya here, and I tuck it under, and I'm going to figure out how much I need to create a bow. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to not create a knot, but do like, you know, a little once around, and then create my bunny ears. And wiggle those down to the size that I want them. So if you don't have a pre-cut piece of ribbon, this is actually also a ribbon saving technique, because I could cut this off of my roll and save a good chunk of ribbon here that I would have otherwise needed if I'd wrapped it all the way around. All right, so I want this to kind of sit so that it's not covering my words. Oh, come on. Sometimes these bows do not cooperate. I'm going to start that one again. All right. I'm going to be happier like that. So here we go. There, that's much better. Okay, so I'm going to make this quite a petite bow. And then let the ends stick out like that, and I'll trim those up. There we go. All right, so we have our little bow on our card now. And if you want, you can put that up higher so it really doesn't interfere with the words. It's totally up to you. And now the last step to this card is to attach this piece to the front and center of our card. So we have to peel off all those dimensional backings. And I did use a lot of them. Oh my goodness. All right, there we go. And now I like to kind of put my finger at the top to find the spot for it to stop at. There we go. It'll look straight to me, and then when I'm happy with where it's placed, I'll just push down on those dimensionals. There we go. All right, now just to add our blings. So of course, my free gift this week with a $70 purchase is our champagne rhinestones, because it is the embellishment that we are using on, I believe, all 3 of the cards today, actually. It just goes so nicely with this Texture Chic Designer Series paper. All right. And one more. Come on. There. All right. And that is our first card all finished. So I love the shimmer on the DSP, and then the soft colors that go with that one. So that's our first card. All right. Our second card today is also in some lovely soft colors. And there we go. It is a great one just to send to a friend, because maybe pop a little gift card in there. So today's plan: consume coffee and be awesome. I love it. So we'll pull out all of our bits. Okay, got everything. Good. All right. Now, sorry. I've got my basic white card base for this one. And we're going to get started right away gluing this piece of Pool Party down to our card base. Okay, there we go. just like that. And then we have a piece of basic white that has been embossed with the splatters design from our Stripes and Splatters and 3D embossing folder pack. So it's kind of like, I don't know, spilt water, spilt coffee. Just a really fun element to add to the background here. And that's going to go on to our left-hand side of the card. Just try and create an equal border on 3 sides. There we go. With that done, we can start doing some stamping. So first thing we're going to do is grab the itty bitty little star from this set and our Pool Party ink. And I'm going to just stamp stars kind of all over this right-hand side. Not going to worry about the rest of the card, just the right-hand side. Okay, so just a little bit tedious. It's a very tiny stamp, so it takes quite a bit to fill up the space. I'll just kind of go with it and get that done. Now, if you do not have Pool Party ink, you can also use Versamark for this. Versamark is kind of like an ink pad form of a blender pen. You get any color you need with it. There we go. So we've got stars just kind of all over there. They're a little bit hard to see on our screen, but they are there. So it's just kind of really subtle. I'm not even sure how I can show you guys that. I don't know why. There we go. You can see them. So yeah, they're there. They're subtle, but it just adds a nice interest to the background. So we can set all of this off to the side now and do some stamping. So I'm going to stamp my coffee mugs. I'm going to do 3 of them again in Early Espresso. So grab my coffee mug. There he is. And 1, 2, 3. There. So 3 little coffee mugs. And actually, while I've got them out, let's pop one onto the front of our card, or envelope rather. Okay. So a little coffee mug on there. And actually, because this is just a little bit different, we're also going to, because it's the front, we've got the little like steam lines to come off of your coffee mug. We're going to pop those onto it because we can. It doesn't work so well for the card itself, but it works beautifully for the envelope. All right. So now we're going to color our mugs. You can choose whatever color you'd like for your front one. I think I'm actually going to do mine in Pool Party, even though there isn't a Pool Party one in on our card. I think that's what I'm going to use for our front one to match the background of our card. So I'm actually going to do the whole thing in Pool Party. And then I'm going to use this light Bermuda Bay to come in and do the accents on it. I am using the finer tip for this part because I'm going into tiny spots, and then I'm also going to highlight little stars on the mug. So a little bit of tone on tone for that. All right, so that's our envelope all decorated. Super cute. And now our coffee mugs. So our coffee mugs are basically the same thing. So I'm using light old olive to color in one of our mugs. So I'm going to start with just a quick pass over the whole mug. And then I'm going to come back with the finer tip of the same light old olive and add some color. There we go. And those little stars. All right. Now I'm I'm going to use both of my pale papayas. I'm going to run over the whole card in my light pale papaya. It's just a little too light though to be able to use the fine tip of it to get any significant color added. So for this one, we will use the dark pale papaya to do the adding of the texture. Or not texture, but like the shading. And then finally, we're going to use Flirty Flamingo and do the same thing. We're going to do one coat entirely with our light. Oh, this one seems to be, I've wrecked the tip on that one. All right, we'll use the fine point. It'll take just a little bit longer. Might have used my Flirty Flamingo a little too much. Okay. Might have to go on my replacement list. So these are alcohol blends, and they're markers. They do run out. They're filled with ink, and when you used it all, you used it all. And I use my Flirty Flamingo a lot. Now I'm going to use my dark Flirty Flamingo to come back in and add some detail there. All right, so our mugs are done. Now our next bit of stamping is on a piece of early espresso, and I am going to use my embossing buddy to just remove any oils from this that may be there. All right, next job is to grab our Versamark. Now to stamp this one, I actually took, well here, I'll do it for you guys. I took my stamps, because it's 3 separate stamps that I want, and I laid them out on here where I wanted them. So today's plan, consume coffee. And be awesome. So you can mix and match all of these sentiments. Choose what you would like as your sentiments. But I laid them all out on my label exactly how I wanted them, got them straight. So I'm even using my grid paper to kind of double check, like, is that straight? That is now. Is that straight? And, oh, come on. Is that straight? So then once I'm happy with how it looks on my label like that, I take my block and I put it down over top of all 3 stamps and lift up. And now I'm ready to go. I can do multiples of this now without having to line things up. So just a great little trick for any time that you're using multiple images that actually, you know, don't overlap and can actually go side by side. All right, let me come on in here and stamp that with our Versamark. And then, let's see if I can put those things. There we go. I'm going to grab my Powder Pal that in my case is already filled with white embossing powder. And we'll run that through, tap it off. And, okay, there's just a few little bits here. So if there were bits near the edge, like over here, your additions kit does come with a paintbrush, so I can just use that to swoop those away. But for some of these other ones, I have a few little bits just stuck inside my O. I'm just going to use the pointy tip of my Take Your Pick tool to pull those out. It's great for picking up singular grains of embossing powder that you don't want. That way you don't have to get in close with a paintbrush to the image where you do want things. You can just pick these out and get a really clean look on your embossing. Okay, there we go. Get rid of that one and a couple more up here. So I find the finer your image is that you're working with, the more kind of nitpicky you need to be about that kind of thing. All right, now I'm going to hold this with my tweezers so I don't burn myself. And here we go. We're going to use our heat tool to heat this up. right. So that's all done. So we have our cute little sentiment done now. Now, these 3 little coffee cups, you could totally just fussy cut around them and it would be fine. But I'm actually going to use the die for this one just because it will be quicker, but also because the die cuts out the little space inside the mug handle, which I just think is the cutest. So we're going to bring in our mini, have my plates, and we're going to die cut these 3 mugs quickly so that we can add them to our card front. There we go. Okay, one done. So you do want to remember to grab that little piece that comes out from the mug handle and pull it off your board. Otherwise it can create like an embossed look if you put another piece of paper down on top of it and try and cut something. All right. Next one. And one more. All right. Oh, come on. Come off of there. All right. And here's our last coffee mug. There we go. Nope. All right. I didn't get those lined up nicely. Oh, and now I've moved that around. Yikes. All right. Let's turn this around. Do it this way. There we go. All right. So we've got our 3 mugs. Got all those handles off the board. Okay, put that away. And we are ready to put our card together. So to attach this piece, I actually just put 2 dimensionals right in the center. I wanted to leave a little bit of space here. Actually, I'm going to move that down a bit further. I wanted to leave a little bit of space there to be able to tuck the vellum underneath. Okay, so do that. And then this one, I used the little dimples to line that up. Okay, now this guy is going to tuck under just like that. Tuck them under as much as you need to make sure that it's not going to hang off your card. And so I just put a little mini glue dot, or you can do even just a little swipe of Seal Plus down there. Oops. Just to hold it still once you've got it tucked under. So I'll come along, lift that edge, tuck it under. Once you've got it where you want it, just push down. And now that that's done, I can peel the backing off of both sides of a dimensional and tuck that under the top. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to add our coffee mug. So for this little guy, I'm going to put our dimensional onto the vellum, peel it off, and then place the mug so that we cover up that dimensional and it sticks to it. Okay, and then down at the bottom, these guys, I can just go ahead and put the dimensionals on them. So I want this mug to cover up where like the line between the white and the pool party is. Okay, and then this one gets the dimensional as well. And when I place this one, I'm just going to tuck it under a little bit and place it right there. All right, so there's our mugs on our card. And then we're going to grab some champagne rhinestones again and give this a little bling. There we go. And one more. There we go. Awesome. So that is our second card for today. And we also have our decorated envelope to go with that. So super duper cute. All right, that done. Where am I putting these? Over there. Excellent. All right, we have our last card. I think this one's my favorite. Cocktails, because adulting is hard. Some days it really, really is. So this has another piece of the Texture Chic DSP in it, one of my favorite pieces. It's got like the geometric shapes and overlapping hexagons and some pool party and pink in there with the gold. It's just so pretty. All right, so we're going to start with the inside of our card. You have a piece of basic white and a tiny strip of the DSP that we're using, and we're going to glue that to the edge of our basic white before we glue this to the inside of our card. So here we go. Grab a little bit of glue and run that down. And pop that on there. And then we can glue this whole layer to the inside of our card. So there we go. So right off the bat, we have a nice decorated card interior. Now we're going to work on the front of this card. I need my bone folder for that one. Oh, I don't have it. Okay, well, we'll use this and see if that will work. Still not fully unpacked from a card class on the weekend. Whoops. All right, so we're going to take this piece of Designer Series paper and glue it to a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. And let's go just like that. And then this piece is going to get glued straight to our card front. Oh, there we go. All right, glued straight to our card front. Now we are ready to do some stamping. So we'll set that off to the sides. And we're going to get our label. So now I forgot to mention the label on the last card and the label on this card. They both came from the seasonal labels dies. And so these actually coordinate with like a pine cone set. But there's so many great labels in here as well that I had to use them. There we go. So we've got that. So I'm going to take my word cocktail. So I'm going to clean up my chocolate that I had before on here and put cocktails back on. Let's see, put that there. Cocktails on here. There we go. And I'm going to stamp that with polished pink ink. It's, I think, my favorite pink. If we're going to use pink, this is the one. And so we want to stamp that just kind of near the top, straight across. And then if you want to keep with the early espresso look that we've been going with, you can do that. But I did switch over for this card to using Memento Black. And the sentiment was because adulting is hard. You could finish this sentence in any way. There's so many options with this particular stamp set. I'm going to leave my black ink out for a moment and grab my cocktail stamp here as well and ink it up. There we go, and stamp there. And as long as I've got it out, I'm going to stamp my envelope as well. There we go. All right, now we can put away our ink. And at this point, you have a few options. There are stamps to color in the lemon or lime or whatever you want it to be, and the umbrella. They're these cute little pieces that will stamp in the image. Or you can use blends to color it. But I do love using the stamp to fill in the drink, because then it gives you the little glass silhouette and the ice cube silhouette. So we're going to do this one in polished pink. Have our drink match the words. So I'm going to come from above. This takes a little bit of practice to line it up. You can see through, but it's just where you want it to land. It's a little, I would do a few practice runs if you've never done it before. All right, so we've got our cocktail all done. Now I'm going to use some of the blends that we used on our coffee cup, and we're going to do some pale papaya to create like a little light like orange over here, and use the dark end for the rind. There we go. And then I'm going to grab my Bermuda Bay, light Bermuda Bay, and color in our cocktail umbrella. And I'm also going to grab my pool party. This is our light pool party. And I'm going to use it to color the glass and the stem of the glass. There we go. All right, so now this little guy, easily fussy cut, or we can throw it through the machine with the die that cuts out the edges. So both work. I'm going to use the dies because it is faster. But there's no funny little like pop outs that are hard to do with the scissors on this one. It's just an around the outside kind of die. So there we go. Pop that out and put these away. So with that done, we will start putting things. Oh, I forgot to do my card front, or my envelope rather. So I'm just going to grab that back again and find my drink insert. There we go. We'll give this one its color. Got to have a fully decorated envelope. So in case you missed it, our lemon or orange or whatever fruit this is on the side. You could have some fun and even do it up in green, make it a lime. So light pale papaya, dark pale papaya, and my pool party for my glass. There we go. And our umbrella. I am using the fine tip for this because it is a pretty tiny space. There we go. All right, our envelope's decorated. Good. All right, so now to start putting this one together, I'm going to start with our sentiment. I'm going to throw some dimensionals on the back of it. I am using 4 on this one. It is actually a fairly large label. There we go. And I'm kind of centering it along that line. And then for our cocktail, I'm going to put a dimensional down at the bottom. And then down in this little space down here, I'm actually going to use, and get my paper snips, I'm going to use one of the little bits from the edge, and I'm going to place it in so that it follows like it's the same shape. So flat along the bottom and angled on the sides. All right. And I am going to put a mini glue dot on our lemon or orange or whatever it is, because I don't want it kind of flipping up. Yeah, I'm going to ignore the umbrella though, because it kind of hangs off the side. All right. So peel those backings off. And when I set this down, I'm just making sure that I'm not covering up any words. There we go. And of course, the final touch to this one is to add some bling. Now I put a couple down here and one on my eye on my original card. And I think I'm going to again on this one. There. All right. And then I thought, well, it looks nice. I'm okay with it, but we can also grab that little star again. Oh, I put them, there I go. Put them all the way over there. And grab our pool party again, or you could even, actually I might, now we'll do pool party again. And so you can grab your pool party ink, and not too many this time. We're not decorating the whole space, but kind of putting some strategic little stars around it just to make it sparkle. All right, so just a few. And that's our finishing touches. Hello, thanks for joining. So this was actually our last card for today's card class to go. I'll bring back all the cards and show you. Oh, thank you. So yeah, cocktails because adulting is hard. Today's plan, consume coffee and be awesome. And of course, you're just like chocolate. You make everything better. Oh, hi, Nancy. Thanks for joining all the way from Illinois. Wow. So my card classes to go are available for Canadians. I can't send out the product and stuff to people outside of Canada. It just gets super costly, and we have some rules around that. But if you do want the printable PDF for this, just contact me. I do have a deal for people who are outside of Canada to just get the PDF tutorial. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are all having a great week so far. And we're getting close to Christmas break for those of us who, live that life. I'm a teacher, so we've got 2 more days of school and then we're on holidays. Thank goodness. Oh, I know, Nancy. Isn't it a great stamp set? Nothing's better than. And the dies are fun too. Thanks, Eva. So you guys have a great week. I hope your preparations for the holidays are going well. And I will be live next week. The holidays actually don't interfere with any of my card classes to go because Christmas this year is on a weekend. Very convenient for me. So have a great week, and I will see you next week. Don't forget that tomorrow is free shipping. So whether you're placing an order to get this card kit or just need to, stock up on envelopes, $100 gets you a ton of stuff. And with that free shipping, it saves you a ton of money. It's like an $11, almost $12 savings on that order. So kind of a good deal. Oh, I'm live against another live stream. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm still live right now, Nancy, and I will be back next week, every week. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.